like everyone to stand and face the flag for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, testing. All right. What we have here this evening, of course, is the forum for the candidates running for trustee positions on the college board. I'd like to introduce three legionnaires who's going to be asking questions. We have Commander Don Marshall. We have First Vice Commander Dave Mages and Service Officer Bill Pittman. And the questions have been set. Each of the candidates has had the questions for quite some time, so they'll be familiar with them. We won't have any gotcha questions tonight. We're short of time. They're only going to get 1 minute to answer each of the first questions, 2 minutes on the next question. They're going to get 2 minutes to introduce themselves, and then 2 minutes to close. And I think I've covered everything. Oh, Dr. Presley is not here. If there's someone to speak for Dr. Presley, that person will be certainly encouraged to have some opening remarks for Dr. Presley. Is there a spokesman here for Dr. Presley? All right, we'll continue. We're really short of time, so we won't have any time for questions from the audience and no comments from the audience. Again, no applause, please. I'm sure that people will be saying things you like, but applause will just slow it down. We're going to try and get finished in an hour and 15 minutes. But please stay after the forum and speak to the candidates individually. All right, there is a question concerning a DC-3 Forte's operational agreement, and the candidates have been furnished with a copy of that operating agreement, so they'll know how to properly respond to that. I think that covers it. We have drawn for seating arrangements, and we're going to let each of the candidates now introduce themselves in turn, and they'll each have 2 minutes. I have colored papers here. When they have 15 seconds left, I'm going to hold up a green piece of paper. When their 2 minutes are up, I'm going to hold up a red piece of paper, and if they don't stop talking, the commander's really a big guy, and he's going to go take the microphone away from me. All right, Gene Dole did draw, and he's the first candidate to introduce himself. Then we'll just go right down the road, and each candidate will introduce themselves, and then these people will start with questions.
Thank you, Chuck and the American Legion, for hosting this forum. My name is Gene Dole, and I've lived in Dodge City community for about 13 years. While in Dodge, I've helped create the local...
Is it on?
It's on.
Okay, a little closer. Okay.
Okay. While in Dodge, I've helped create a local YMCA, the Victory Electric Health Fair. I set up a... This is not working consistently. Okay. Can I start over?
Yes, please.
Okay. Wanted to thank Charlie and the American Legion for hosting the forum. My name is Gene Dole, and I've lived in the community for the past 13 years. While in Dodge, I've helped create a local YMCA, the Victory Electric Health Fair. I helped set up an independent child advocacy center for sexually abused children, and I've worked on the 3I in the Dodge City days, activities, put in a lot of hours there. I retired in June as administrator for Dodge City Medical Center after about 38 years in healthcare. Also, prior to my healthcare career, I taught undergraduate and graduate classes. I did medical and academic research, and I published on my research. Listening to all sides of an issue and then making an informed decision is what I was trained to do. I did that for 38 years in the healthcare field, and I've done that in the academic environment. I think that these qualifications give me a unique perspective on how to approach an issue that could be very controversial and come up with a solution that is maybe a little different than what people might think, but will serve the community as well as the college. Thank you.
I just want to thank the American Legion and also all the candidates for coming to this forum tonight. My name is Danny Thomas. I was born and raised in Dodge City, Kansas, and have lived here all but 3 years of my life. I've been married to my wife, Mary, for 25 years, and we have 2 children. My son, Ty, is a senior at Fort Hays State University, and my daughter, Hannah, is a sophomore at the University of Kansas. I am a Dodge City Community College graduate, and from there, that allowed me to go to St. Mary's of Plains College, where I double majored in applied mathematics and business administration with an emphasis in accounting. While at both schools, I played baseball and football. I am a financial advisor and partner in the firm of Beck & Unruh & Thomas. I am currently on the Dodge City Athletics Board, and then previously I went through the 1997 Leadership Dodge class. I was on the Dodge City Chamber Board of Directors from 2002 to 2006 and served as that board's president in 2005. I've also been on the Dodge City United Way Board and have been on the Finance Council at Our Lady of Guadalupe Church. This is my first political office I have sought, and I'm elected to do it for 2 reasons. First, I am a graduate of Dodge City Community College. And secondly, I am a very passionate believer that the value of higher education to a community is immeasurable. I believe the more and better higher education a community has, the better its quality of life, the more it helps stabilize a community's economy and gives us a better chance to keep young people home and bring in more talented people to help secure a community's future. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm Florestine Hampton, retired farmer, rancher, and registered nurse. My husband Marvin, in the audience, is also a registered nurse. We have a long story about how we came to be registered nurses. We believe in continuing education and went to school with 5 little children. So that, I think, is proof that we support education. I live in northwest Ford County, where my great-grandparents were pioneer homesteaders dating back to 1882. My husband Marvin and I live on Eagle Bluff Ranch. We raised 5 children, and all 7 of us, and some grandchildren, have hours or degrees from Dodge City Community College. I've been a trustee for 24 years, served as state president of the Kansas Association of Community College Trustees, and was appointed by Governor Graves to the Kansas Board of Regents when the legislature moved community colleges from the Board of Education to the Board of Regents. I've spent my whole life working for the things in Dodge City and Fort County that I believe were positive and uplifting, and I plan to continue doing that. I've been involved in many community organizations and also at the state level. I'm running because I believe my years of experience and my dedication will continue to be assets to this Board of Trustees.
I want to thank the American Legion for hosting this forum. I want to thank each and every one of you for coming this evening and taking time out of, I know, busy schedules so you can inform yourselves more about this election and the issues the Dodge City Community College faces. I also want to thank the person on the far right for getting the microphone to work before you pass it down the floor. My name's Bill Hammond. I have served at 2 community colleges as the Chief Financial Officer, Highland Community College and Garden City Community College. I have a passion for what I think community colleges can and do for communities. I think they're the wonderful opportunity and the entryway to higher education for many, many of our students, many of our people. But a comprehensive community college also serves all the citizens. A comprehensive community college should serve really from the cradle to grave the people of our community. And that is what I would strive to do if you elect me to the board of Dodge City Community College. So I thank you for being here. I live in Dodge City. I am a finance officer at USD 443. Tonight I represent myself, and I want to be very clear, I represent myself, not the district. I am here on my own behalf. So thank you for coming.
My name is Terry Malone, and I've been a resident of Ford County for 40 years. I am an attorney and have been practicing for 40 years here. I am married to former Gretchen Ripple. Her father is a veterinarian, or was a veterinarian, and as her brother is. We have 3 kids, Katie, Kevin, and Kyle, and all of them have taken classes at Dodge City Community College. I was raised on a farm in Rice County, and where we milked cows, slopped the pigs, and had wheat and milo. I'm a graduate of Kansas State University and Washburn Law School. I have spent 16 years as a trustee for the Dodge City Community College from '89 to 2001, and then again from 2005 to 2009. I have served many years as a florist dean, and also have served with Morris Reeves and Dr. Conant, who are present trustees. I chose to run because I was seriously concerned about the future of Dodge City Community College and its continued existence. I think we need to strive to keep the college that I think is so vitally important to our community that to even think about dissolving it would be a huge mistake. At the same time, I would work hard to try to bring 4-year programs in higher education to Dodge City and Ford County, as that is obviously the key to economic growth and well-being of people. Thank you.
No candidate did take their 2 minutes, so that's a very positive way to start. But the first question will be fielded by Danny Thomas, and we'll start with Bill Pittman for the first question.
DC3's current president, Dr. Don Woodburn, will retire June 30th, 2015. What procedures would you like to see followed in hiring a new president?
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Woodburn for his service. And I'm sure there are already policies and procedures in place to do this. However, I would not mind seeing the board seek the services of a professional firm who deals with helping college find presidents to help get the best applicants possible. We may find out the best presidential candidate is from outside our community, or we may find that the best qualified person is already on staff. I think we owe it to our students and the faculty to do whatever it takes to find the most qualified person.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'll watch this.
The most effective use of time and money in looking for a president is to hire a reputable professional search firm. Work with them to develop a profile for what kind of a candidate you prefer. Make a plan for who on campus is responsible for what as it proceeds. Interview the recommended candidates. Include representatives from faculty, staff, students, and the public in open and transparent decisions. Then seal the deal before somebody else beats you to your first choice.
My note was the board has already hired a professional search firm, but what I think is really important for the Board of Trustees to do is to set what they see the future direction for Dodge City Community College to go. I think it's important then to go and hire the person with the skills, gifts, and graces to take the college in that direction. We should not be looking for someone to tell us what we need, but the board with community input needs to decide where do we want our community college to be in 4, 5, 10 years, and then we need to go out and find that person who can take us there.
The board, I believe, is taking the correct steps presently, and that is hiring a professional search firm. That has worked well in the past, and I'm glad to see that they have started in that direction. The hiring of the president is absolutely the most important task that the board ever engages in, and so we have to have good candidates that from the search committee who are want to be in Southwest Kansas, who have the credentials to guide our community and to fulfill not only educational opportunities, but also be involved heavily in technical training for our college. I've been involved, as Florence, I think Florestine is probably the top person. She's been involved in more presidential searches. I've been involved in 3 of them, and I look forward to being able to be involved in another one. Thank you.
Florestine Hampton will field the next question first. Oh, sorry.
You're left out.
Sorry.
Depending upon the direction from the board, I see the selection committee would be set up with a trustee as a chairperson. The selection committee should be made up of representatives from the community, the faculty, and administration equally. In my humble opinion, the committee should first hear from Dr. Woodburn what he thinks we need to have. A national search firm is appropriate, I think, to advertise and then to help us select a pool of candidates. Ultimately, the selection committee should review the candidates, interview them, and then make recommendations to the board. Finally, the Board of Trustees, with the final couple of candidates, they would do the interviews and then make the decision. I think that we can find people from both within the community and outside the community as candidates that would be viable. And going through a systematic process that involves the community, the faculty, administration, I think we have the best possible chance of having somebody who would be successful. Thank you.
All right, and now we'll let Florence Jean field the next question first, and Commander Marshall.
DC3 has an ever-increasing number of minority students, yet there are very few minority administrators, faculty, or staff. Are you comfortable with this situation? And if not, how would you propose to increase the diversity among DCCC employees to reflect the diversity of the student community?
Thank you. Yes, I would like to see a greater number of minorities in the administrative positions. We're making progress reaching the minority students. If I added right on the information from the registrar, 50.25% of our students are other than white. But we don't match that for administrators and staff because many of the minorities are. Now, are you hearing me? No. Okay. Do I need to repeat? Okay. We don't match that for administrators, faculty, and staff because many of the minorities are first generation and not prepared for professional level. That means there's not a pool of applicants for faculty and administration. I firmly believe our hiring recruiters look first for quality rather than just filling slots. And we have some outstanding people out there, male and female, wonderful folks in maintenance and food service. The list shows full-time staff, this is staff, 17% other than white, part-time staff, 43%. The point we need to make here is that the community college is the place where they have an opportunity to start on the upward path. We are gaining, but it takes time.
It is appropriate for a new board to reevaluate the college hiring policies to ensure that we are inclusive. We need to make sure that all faculty and administrative searches are conducted on a national basis, using both national publications and websites. And we need to make sure that all potential applicants, that we welcome diversity. We want diversity in our institution. But also diversity is more than just a matter of race or national origin. It is also a matter of hiring faculty who graduated from a variety of institutions. So we also have a diversity in our faculty as they teach and present information to our students. But our goal should always be to hire the best candidate for the position because our students deserve no less.
That's a good question, and it's, when we go to these conferences in the past, when I was trustee, it's been a problem. It's a problem all over the country, how to, since we have a huge increase in population of the Hispanic, there just aren't, everybody in the country wants to hire Hispanic professors, in fact, the faculty, staff, and they're just, right now, it's very tough because we're just one small college that wants to hire people that are in demand all across the country. So this is, I think, an opportunity for perhaps some real homegrown situations. It's going to take a while to have our faculty and staff look more like our population does. And I talked to Dr. Woodward about this today because you think that we would be able to hire more staff than we have if we can't hire faculty. But he makes the point that Cargill and National Beef both pay a lot better than we do, and that's where most of the eligible Hispanic graduates are going to work.
I would like to see more minority representation in the faculty, administration, and the staff. When I came to Dodge City, the medical center had very few minority employees represented in the physician areas as well as the support areas. Now, if you look at the population, you'll see that almost every physician area and all of the support areas have at least one, if not multiple, bilingual employees. This is accomplished by actively working to increase the minority representation. With good leadership, it can be accomplished, but it has to come from top down. But it will take time also. We can find quality minority candidates in our area and that are outside of our area to fill our positions. We need to make the effort and have the commitment because we can find them within the pool of candidates.
I believe in hiring the most qualified individuals for a position, but yes, I would love to have more qualified minorities fill these positions. I believe one way to do this is to be able to offer those higher education classes locally to educate our local students so that we would qualify to fill these positions. I believe we have a lot of local talent in our minority population that already calls Dodge City home. And if we can make it more convenient and more affordable for them, we can help eventually balance the student-employee ratio out. And yes, this will take time, but I think it's a very easily accomplished goal.
Right, the next question will be asked by Vice Commander Davis.
Recent concerns and criticisms have been raised concerning DC3's employee salaries. What is your position on employee salaries?
What was stated by a member of the community was wrong information. The numbers were not what is reported. The current average salary for faculty at DCCC is $48,596 for a 170-day contract. And I might include that it includes many faculty who have been there 10, 15, 20 or more years. So you think of that kind of service. According to the K-Board reports, our salaries are in line with other community college, below that of USD 443. I just might mention that my daughter, within 3 years of graduating from graduate school, earns more than my wife, who has a double master's, and 20, as she says, plus years of teaching experience. Folks, our teachers are not overpaid at Dodge City Community College, plain and simple. And having served at both a community college in the eastern part of the state and the western part of the state, I can tell you it costs more to recruit teachers to western Kansas. That's a fact. So I don't think our people are overpaid.
I certainly agree with Hill about that. I really have never heard anyone other than one person complain about what a teacher is paid either at the K through 12 level or especially the community college, no teacher in my mind gets paid too much. We don't value them enough, and I think that they deserve what all that they get. And as Bill pointed out, they are not overpaid. They don't get paid that much. The staff, as Dr. Whitworth pointed out, that we have a difficult time recruiting people because we cannot compete with National Beef and Cargill for the salaries they do. So I think we're very fortunate to have been able to attract the faculty that we have had. We've retained some really fine faculty over the years because we at least pay decent salaries, and I think it's a good place to work. So I hope that we continue to pay them at least adequately.
We don't want Gene to talk.
Exactly, there you go. I've had actual training and experience in compensation theory. Comparing one salary or a simple average between various institutions is not the way to approach the issue. You need to look at ranges of salaries, distributions within those ranges, as well as a lot of other variables, such as formal education, degrees earned, research provided, publications, longevity, scope of responsibilities, independent decision-making, supply and demand, our location, and other relevant factors. After looking at all of these, you can then make a comparison, and then and only then can you determine whether it's fair and determine a constructive solution. You may need to do some fairly radical things, but unless you look at the problem comprehensively, you're just looking at poor data.
Well, I don't want to bore you with the details. To me, this is a simple question. I know there's lots of ways to go about it. But all I want is competitive salaries to attract the best talent possible to benefit our students at Dodge City Community College. However, having said this, I also believe the Board of Trustees owes it to the people of Ford County to not substantially overcompensate faculty either. We need to be able to balance finances and have the best college in the state and be responsible stewards of the taxpayers' dollars.
There are a lot of people at DCCC that work for not very much money. I wish it could be better. I was reminded of the education concerns in the news when President Reagan was in office, a nation at risk, warning that our students were slipping behind other countries because too many did not have good teachers. Those jobs were not valued enough, didn't pay enough, and we didn't train them well enough. Today, we still worry about our students aren't keeping up in the sciences and even in the basics. I think I'm right that 63% of students that come to community college are enrolled in at least one developmental course. Even though many great teachers are there because they want to be a teacher, others that ought to be there aren't because of the pay. I wish we could pay good teachers enough that the profession is also rewarding financially.
The next question will go back to Bill Pittman.
Many Ford County property owners are concerned about taxes paid to support DC3. What is your position on property taxes paid to DC3?
Having served on the board for 16 years previously, I find that to be the toughest task to handle, and that is when we do have to ask the taxpayers to pay for the college. And we all the boards that I've been on, and I know the last few years, it's always been a situation where this board of trustees has tried to do more with less and keep the mill levy down. to something reasonable, and I think we've done a good job. The counties we have 18 counties that have community colleges in Kansas. They have taken on an unusual burden because the state universities like Douglas County and Ellis County, Ryder County, they don't pay a dime to have the state universities in their counties. So I'm very proud of the fact that our county is one of the 18 that values education and knows and know how important community colleges are to their communities. So all I can say is yes, it's a burden that a great county doesn't have, and the state has taken away a lot of our money in 1999, because now the counties that don't have community colleges and send their students to us don't have to pay any out-district tuition. That has put an extra burden on you, and all I can say is I appreciate your taking that burden.
I'm recently retired, and I can't afford an increase in the tax rates. That's not something, if I'm elected, that I would support at all. I'll do everything that I can to keep the rates down. We all need to support the economic development in Dodge City and Ford County. With increased number and size of our businesses, there will be increased money for the community college. If there's enough economic growth, then the mill levy could even be lowered without reducing the money dedicated to the college. You've all heard the idea for years, shop locally. Well, every time that you go to Garden or Wichita to buy things, revenue flows out of our area. That's not good. When you support local business, then you help the college. And that's what we have to do. We have, over the last number of years, been ahead of gained on Garden City, and we are exceeding them in the average salaries that we're paying, the types of jobs that we're creating, and that's the direction we need to go. If we can continue on that road, then we won't have to increase our mill levies, and we might be able to reduce that.
Before I say my prepared statement, I think it's very important that everybody understands how taxes are. It's a two-sided equation to come up with the answer. You have a mill levy and property valuations. And we have been very, very fortunate in this community to have property valuations going up. But having said that, if anybody has studied the Great Recession of 2008, property value and valuation increases is what led to substantial amount of these problems. Now, as I said in the opening statement, I believe that investment in higher education is immeasurable to a community. The more and better higher education the community has, the better its quality of life, the more it helps stabilize a community's economy and keep our talented young people home to preserve our future, as well as bring in talented people. Once again, though it is a balancing act, and I believe our job is to provide the best college possible and be stewards of the taxpayers' money. So I have no problem with the tax dollars going to Dodge City Community College as long as we provide an efficient and quality education.
I know how that feels. We are landowners, we're farmers and ranchers. Our forefathers in this country mandated that we support education for the people, so that means taxes. Community colleges are recognized as a bargain, accessible and affordable both to the student and the society, because an educated society is economic development. Community colleges belong to their home county, their base of support, and the state either does or does not do its share. A few years ago, the state paid about 25% of our budget. Now it's 20% or less, and more cuts coming. The mill levy for tax collection is a major source of revenue that depends on the valuation, as Danny said. Example, Johnson County Community College levy is 9.5 mil. Colby in Thomas County is 45.8. Ours is 32.3, down 1 from last year because of good management and the fact that we have studiously and judiciously used the resources that we have available.
I think Dodge City Community College needs to be a good steward of the tax dollars. I think public institutions are accountable to taxpayers. Unfortunately, the state of Kansas has really given community college a statewide mission, but they haven't given the community college a statewide tax base to work for that mission. Regents institutions should be supported with state dollars, not local taxpayers' property taxes. I also would commend the college for looking at creative programs such as the helicopter program that has brought additional revenue into the school, and I understand if the trajectory continues, there will come a time when we'll get more revenue, net revenue from that program than we will from Ford County taxpayers. We should look at more ways to be creative and generate more funding from non-taxpayer sources. Cool, on that one.
And now our next question is Vice Commander Davies. Okay, Commander Marshall.
Contentious issues concerning a proposed Fort Hays State University DC-3 merger requiring dissolving DC-3 created unprecedented attention in previous months. These issues will remain before DC-3's Board of Trustees after the April 7 election. How would you vote on any proposal that would require dissolving DC-3?
I don't want to give up and just dissolve the college. I think that's very short-sighted. We need the programs that DC-3 currently offers, and we can't lose what we currently have. We need to grow our programs and increase what we're offering, or else the world will just pass us by. If elected, I'll listen to proposals presented to the trustees and then make a decision based on the facts. Good solutions to difficult challenges require thoughtful, creative action. Many people defend their positions so adamantly that they're unable to see innovative and creative solutions. It takes a lot of effort to move forward constructively. I've demonstrated in my work past that I can solve problems and that I can be supported by the largest number of people who are affected by them. And that's why I want to be involved with the college.
First of all, as far as I know, there is no merger proposal on the table at this time. Secondly, the operational agreement that I was provided, which from my understanding was just a starting point to discuss a possible merger, it specifically states in there that the college will not dissolve itself in order to enter into a partnership with Fort Hays State University. So I believe using the word dissolve is proper terminology at this point. And as I have stated before, I am interested in looking at any proposals that can bring more and higher education to the community, because I believe the benefits of higher education are immeasurable. However, it would be my responsibility as a board member to protect and do what's right for the college and the county. I deal in risk-reward decisions every day in my profession, and I believe it would be my fiduciary duty to look at a proposal that includes the Kansas Board of Regents.
I voted no on this issue, and I would again with the wording that we had at the time, with the understanding that we had at the time, and I will make a statement about that a little bit later, but I will go ahead and say that there isn't any reason to dissolve the college that Dodge City and Ford County taxpayers have built for 80 years. We can add a base. We can add a partnership, not a merger. Partnerships with community colleges and universities are working all over the country, and it can work here. Ed Hammond and Shane Bangerter both said we would be dissolved, and the Regent's June report from the attorney said it would be necessary for the college to dissolve. A lot of people didn't understand that. And a new taxing entity would be established so Fort County taxpayers would continue to pay for the benefit of Fort Hays at Dodge City. I believe the main reason people took sides is that many of them did not understand that, yes, DCCC would be dissolved if we had accepted that proposal. Also, Ed Hammond and Myrna Martin both said there was no money for face-to-face baccalaureate. It would be virtual. We are doing that now. In the LRC on campus, there's a door marked Fort Hays Virtual College, and all a student has to do is open the door and enroll.
I would not vote for any proposal that would require dissolving Dodge City Community College. I am in favor of upper-level class availability, additional tech programs, but dissolving the college makes no sense for our students, our community, or our taxpayers.
I also would never vote as a trustee to dissolve the community college. First of all, it would be a breach of the fiduciary responsibility that the voters would have given me if elected as a trustee. A fiduciary relationship means it's the highest obligation in the law, and one can never act contrary to the benefit of, as a trustee, the benefit of the college. You must always act in its benefit, and there is no benefit to the college or anyone else to have the college dissolved. So it would never be a question. It would, and it simply was a horrible, bad idea. It was one demanded by Fort Hays State University with what I would call audacious arrogance. There was no negotiation. If they said it was non-negotiable, Dodge City College, community college, had to cease to exist before they would consider and not require to produce or provide any courses here face-to-face.
And now the next question will be asked by Vice Commander Mages.
Concerned citizens have requested giving them the right to vote on any consolidation issue. Do you favor giving the general public a vote on any consolidation issue?
I believe this could be a question for legal counsel and not the board. Having said that, I believe the public is getting to vote on the issue by voting for their board of trustees to represent them. However, I am open to listening to legal counsel and local citizens before making a decision on the issue of going to a public vote. I am not for or against letting the public vote on the issue at this point. I feel my responsibility as a trustee would be to make sure the process is legal and handled in a proper manner.
I said that in one of the very first meetings, and the region's attorney alluded to a vote of the people in the June report. Dodge City supported the college for 30 years. Across the state, colleges were outgrowing their city support. So in 1965, legislation was passed for voters in the home counties to add them to their tax base, elect 6 trustees, and therefore they were community colleges. The people voted to do what we do now, and they should have a right to vote to do away with it. A partnership, on the other hand, doesn't change the structure, and no vote would be needed.
Ford County citizens must have the right to vote on any consolidation issue. The college finally belongs to the citizens of Ford County. They pay for it, and they depend on it to educate their children. They voted for it years ago, and they must have the final say.
There is no statutory authority in the state of Kansas to dissolve community college. In order for that to even be done, there would have to be some authority to do it. And I can guarantee you that we all know it belongs to us. It doesn't belong to the legislature. It doesn't belong to the Board of Trustees. It belongs to all of the residents of Ford County. Therefore, they caused it to come into existence. Ford County residents would have to cause it to go out of existence, and they would certainly be required by law to have that opportunity to choose whether or not to dissolve their college, and I doubt that that would ever happen. I hope it would never happen.
My preference would be to have the maximum number of community input into a major decision like this. And that may be a public vote. There may be other options also. We do know that whatever programs are proposed, we must get buy-in from other institutions, whether it's K-Board or institutions of higher education. Our proposals and what we decide cannot be drawn up and presented in a vacuum. Being retired, I have the time, energy, and the desire to listen, evaluate, ask difficult questions, and then make decisions. So a vote for me will give you a thoughtful and dedicated representative who has the ability, the time, the interest to spend the necessary efforts to make good decisions.
Now, our next question will be posed by Mr. Pittman.
Opinions vary on proposals granting Fort Hays authorities to set tuition rates, reducing the DC3's Board of Trustees to an advisory board, and levying taxes on Fort County taxpayers. What is your position on giving authority to Fort Hays State administrators?
My position is to leave the community college in place with the local board in control, and Fort Hays or any other university will be in control of whatever they bring in, baccalaureate or a tech center or maybe K-State ag courses. We don't need them to take over, but we would like to work with them as a partner.
I always like to check and make Charles is on top of this and keeps it on. So
Thank you, I need the help.
we needed a little, anyway. My view is that there should be no taxation without representation. It seems that our forefathers fought a war about that situation. It makes no sense to have Ellis County or anyone else setting our local property taxes. Why would we ever turn authority over to someone else but still pay taxes on it? We need to keep tuition affordable for our children. Those are local decisions. We need to keep those decisions made in Ford County.
I told you it's a bad idea. It was. Fort Hays, like I say, demanded that our institution be handed over to them. It would not be Dodge City Community College. It would be Fort Hays College at Dodge City, hopefully providing some of the courses that we now provide. But the problem is our board of trustees would no longer have control of anything, with the exception of levying taxes against you to give to Fort Hays so they could decide how they wished to spend your money on what formerly was our college. It was simply a plan to get our students, and then they would raise the tuition to the level that they pay, which is about 3 or 4 times the level that we pay locally, and take over an institution that we've invested over $165 million in over the last 80 years. Like Bill said, taxation without representation makes no sense. This whole proposal by Fort Hays was a harebrained idea, and it wasn't thought out well at all. And I don't understand why they thought that people of this county would actually fall for it.
The taxing authority and tuition rates, setting the tuition rates, are rights given to the Board of Trustees. Fort Hays does not and should not have the ability to levy taxes on Ford County residents. The electorate, you, are right now involved in selecting trustees. You do have a vote. You do have your voice in this process. We as candidates need to listen to you. Then, we as trustees need to study whatever proposals and make the best possible decisions for the community. We can create solutions that meet our needs, but we're required to stand up and move forward, not to sit back, complain, and blame others.
Once again, I make decisions based on the facts that are in front of me. I was given this operational agreement dated November 5th, and I have received nothing else besides that. And to my knowledge, there is no proposal on the table once again. But upon reading the operational agreement that I was provided, that also to my knowledge was just a starting point. Right there on page 2 of the financial section, it says the DC3 Board of Trustees will retain sole authority over the college's finances, including the power to assess a mill levy, enter into contracts, approve a budget, own and sell property and equipment, receive state reimbursement, receive grants and degrees, and to perform any and all other activities necessary for the operation of the college. So I'm not sure where these concerns come to play yet. I will tell you that if a proposal to merge with any four-year institution comes before me when I am on the board, I feel it is my fiduciary duty to look at it. For example, if Fort Hays, Kansas State, anybody comes back to us, I would look forward to sitting down at the table with them and the Kansas Board of Regents to see if we can make something work. This means there will probably be compromise on all three sides. My job will be to protect Dodge City Community College and do what's best for the constituents of Fort County, the students, and the faculty. I believe a well-drawn-up merger that includes the Kansas Board of Regents is a very good opportunity.
I voted for the operational agreement to be forwarded to Fort Hays and the Regents and would again. The three basic goals are to collaborate in offering four-year baccalaureate education, to assist in offering technical training for students and area businesses through a technical institute, to enhance the economy of Dodge City, Ford County, and Southwest Kansas. Isn't that what we all want? It should have been forwarded for evaluation and discussion, and many misunderstandings could have been worked through.
Sorry.
Who should start the?
Okay, have you answered the question concerning giving authority to Fort Hays administrators for levying taxes, trustees?
I thought I did.
You did. I have not.
All right.
Okay, so this is, somehow we went from one question to another.
Now, I think that some of the candidates may have talked about the operational agreement, but if they feel that that's the best way to answer that question, certainly it's not my job to try and correct anyone. So, yes.
I believe the November 5th, 2014 proposal presented by Flourishing Hampton is a fine place to begin. It keeps Dodge City Community College intact as a comprehensive community college. It maintains local control, no taxation without representation. I would want to make sure that any agreement with Fort Hays or any other institution would not preclude Dodge City Community College from pursuing opportunities like the helicopter program and preventing Dodge City Community College from responding to the needs of students, businesses, our community. If you would research the KBOR legal opinion, it stated that higher level classes and a tech center could be accomplished without a merger or any other change in legislation. In fact, all that is really needed is the state's willingness to pay the bill to give higher classes at that tech center to Western Kansas. The state needs to be willing to pay for those programs they do everywhere else in Kansas.
The agreement that the administration, operational agreement dated November 5th that the administration presented to the board at the November meeting that ended in a 3-3 tie, I think is a perfect resolution to the situation. It keeps Dodge City Community College as a independently owned, locally controlled institution like it has been for 80 years, and there's absolutely no reason to change that. It offers to join with Fort Hays State University and other universities in a partnership to provide what we call a 2+2 situation, where we control the first 2 years and then a higher institution would have the next 2 years. That's done all over the country. It's done successfully all over the country, and it should have been presented to the Kansas Board of Regents, but it failed when 3 trustees did not want it to be presented because one of them called it an insult or an affront to Fort Hays. Again, our trustees should be worried about our community college and not Fort Hays about what they think of us keeping our college or not. But we should work together to provide that, but the problem is if you'll understand the non-negotiable demand from Fort Hays, as they never intended to cooperate or go into partnership with our college. They simply wanted our students so they could increase our tuition, so they could make more money for their institution. If they wanted to cooperate and be in partnership, we would be in one. The problem is they don't really want to do that.
I'm assuming we're on the question of the November 5th operating agreement. That's what it sounds
The
like.
question hasn't been
It
asked.
hasn't been asked, but it seems like that's where we're at. Are we?
Sure.
Go ahead, and for the benefit of the audience, we will ask the question, and then for the candidates, there will be 2 minutes to answer this question, so you can cover it again if you've already mentioned some of them.
Okay, Andrew. Wake up. Okay. Each of the candidates has been given a copy of the DC-3 Fort Hays Operational Agreement dated November 5th, 2014. The DC Board of Trustees voted on a motion to forward the proposed agreement to the Kansas Board of Regents for consideration. The motion failed 3-3. What is your opinion on the proposal, and if a motion were made to send this agreement or a like proposal to the Board of Regents, how would you vote? And again, most of the candidates have already made a mention of it, but if there was anything else they'd like to add, you each have 2 more minutes.
This proposal is no longer before the Board of Trustees, so let's just move on. Viable proposals cannot be created in a vacuum. That's not reality. Whatever future proposals are made, as a trustee, I will study them, evaluate them, research them, ask challenging questions, and then make an informed decision. I do not have a full-time or part-time job, nor do I have any agenda that's been given to me by anybody else. My only vested interest is in moving forward and improving the quality of education at Dodge City Community College and the benefit it brings to the community. I will spend the necessary time and effort talking to students, faculty, administration, and the community in researching proposals, making informed decisions that will benefit the county and this community. Interestingly enough, Dr. Woodburn told me a couple of weeks ago that DC-3 could offer their own 4-year degree. Now, that's a creative idea. That's an opinion we need to look at, an option that we need to look at. It may be a great idea, it may be out of our reach, it may be a pipe dream. I don't know. Whatever, we need to research this and as many other opportunities as is practicable. Make constructive decisions and then move ahead. If we stay where we are now, then the world will pass us by, and that does no one any good.
Once again, I believe this question is premature. As Jim pointed out, the proposal is no longer on the table. It asks about forwarding it to the Kansas Board of Regents. And first of all, I would need to know what the consequences of forwarding a proposal to the Kansas Board of Regents would be. However, having read the operational agreement multiple times, I do believe there were many good things in it. And yes, there are things I would like to explore more in depth. As I have stated many times tonight, I believe in higher education is valuable to a community for all the reasons I have stated before. So yes, I would look very close to the merger proposal to bring technical and 4-year education to our community. It would be my job as a board member to do what's best for the students, faculty, and Fort County. If the opportunity comes along, I'd be looking for a way to make technical education and 4-year education work in Dodge City and Fort County, rather than trying to throw up roadblocks to prevent.
Thank you again for sponsoring the forum, and thank you all who came. This is my position. Dodge City Community College will remain intact with accreditation and all programs in place under local control An example's been mentioned. Our helicopter program is the only one like it in partnership with a community college in the whole world. Ford County will not become the only county whose taxpayers are the major financial support of a state institution. We will promote partnerships with Fort Hays and/or other universities for baccalaureate degrees and to build a tech center after a current validated feasibility study is in place, which is Regent's policy. And finally, a personal statement. I am sick that this county-wide community, my community, has been polarized by this issue. It did not need to be that way. There are a lot of barbs and accusations that did not need to be in this community. We should have been working together on some kind of exciting but realistic plan all this time, and it's my hope we can still come together to promote further educational opportunities. Whether you're a KU fan or not, they have a slogan I wish we could adopt. To go far above, we must go together. I ask for your vote on April 7th.
That was the start of our closing.
Thought you said that was closing. Oh, I'm sorry.
That was the operation.
Florence Jean
But
started.
you'll get to make another closing. But the question was about commenting on the proposal. But every candidate can make the presentation that they like, the one that they think is going to get the most votes for them. So if that's what you're going to do to get votes, then that's the way you proceed. But it is the question about the operational agreement that failed 3-3, your opinion on that, and how would you vote on a like position? Florstein, if you would like to say anything more about that, I think it would just be gentlemanly to let you go back and make those proper comments.
Well, I think you heard what I was going to say. I would make a little comment on the original paper bill, and it's been said that it is off the table. They told us that. But I think we need to be cognizant that we aren't going to be always the same board of trustees sitting in that college. It's a possibility it might come back, and it would still need to be very carefully considered. So I just wanted to make that point too. And I stand by all the other comments I made wherever I made them.
And Bill, you can answer any of the above questions.
I just gotta say, that's a pretty tough act to follow. I guess I'm thinking of Hamlet this evening, though. It seems like he said, what, to be or not to be, that is the question. To me, the whole question in this election is to dissolve or not to dissolve. That's really the question that has divided this community, and I think we need straight answers on that one. And I will vote no to dissolve. I will vote yes to do everything I can to add higher education opportunities, senior level classes, and tech centers.
Thank you for all of you for coming tonight and giving us an opportunity to,
Is this closing now?
I think so, I've already.
As I said, you can say whatever you want.
I had a closing statement too.
But I do want to convince everyone, we have not rehearsed this. This is ad-lib, and I didn't want it too organized, so I think I did a really good job of letting everybody say it the way they want to say it. But we're still on the question for the operational agreement.
I've already discussed
All
that.
right.
You want me to go ahead and do a closing, and we'll go ahead and
Florence Jean gave her closing. Let her give you
I
yours.
think that...
I'm going to quit.
Yeah.
All right.
She's ahead. You know.
Florence Jean started.
Does anyone else have a comment?
No, closing statements.
We're ready for a close.
Closing statements. Terry, did you get to properly respond
Yes.
to this question? All right. Then I think the closing statement will begin with Danny Thomas.
First of all, I would like to thank the American Legion once again for this forum, and also thank all the candidates for giving their time. I hope I made it clear where I stand on the issues tonight to help the voters make their decision on April 7th. I hope I've made you understand how important higher education is, and the fact I care very much about Dodge City Community College's future. I do believe the arena of higher education is going to change dramatically in the next decade in this country. I believe there are many reasons for this, such as high student debt levels, changing skill requirements for employment, and the underemployment rate in this country is in a very competitive and shrinking world, are just a few to name. As I have told you tonight, I deal in a profession that requires me to make educated risk-reward decisions every day. So I'm going to end my comments with a comparison to an industry that I have seen change rapidly in the last decade. The telecommunications industry has gone from the landline era to the cell phone era to the smartphone era at a warp speed. Along the way, I saw large companies that either didn't believe in change or were scared to change in that first phase from the landline to the cell phone era and are no longer in existence or are in a much less relevant role. Then I saw companies that made the change to the cell phone era but didn't make the change to the smartphone era and allowed a smart tech company at the time to jump into industry and change the world as we know it. Of course, by now, all of you probably know I'm talking about the Apple company. I believe the education community, in the way education will be delivered, is somewhere in that landline, cell phone era, heading rapidly to the smartphone era, as anybody on the faculty at Dodge City Community College can tell you better than I can. I would be honored to have your vote on April 7th and help make sure that Dodge City Community College is the apple of higher education in Southwest Kansas.
We are on closing now.
We are closing now.
Let's get complicated up here. I've been wearing my Statue of Liberty ties lately. And the reason I've been wearing my Statue of Liberty ties is because I believe community colleges are the Statue of Liberty of higher education. That's the place where it doesn't matter whether you're rich, you're poor, whether you're super smart, or maybe you need to develop middle class, whether you want to take classes so you go on and get a PhD someday, or whether you want tech training. That's the community college. And a comprehensive community college not only serves those students just out of high school, or just those people re-educating themselves for new job markets and new things, and community colleges are the rapid response team for that. But they're also the opportunities for community engagement and community enrichment programs. And those are other things we ought to be talking about in our community. A lot of community colleges have tremendous programs for their senior citizens. They have tremendous programs for new mothers and new families. We need a comprehensive community college here, and to me that's the Statue of Liberty that we need to keep in Dodge City. I guess I'm running because of a little redheaded girl partly right now. In our family, we've kind of ended up, by the way, I want you to know if you learn to change diapers earlier in your life and you need a rise, you'll learn to do it again at 60. It's not a problem, folks. And we've got this beautiful little 17-month-old redheaded girl. And I thought to myself as we're talking about these issues, will Dodge City Community College be available for her when she needs a place to go after high school to get more training and more education? That's what this election's about, and that's why I'm running. I'd appreciate your vote on April 7th. By the way, you can also go to my website, www.hammond2015.com, and we do have a lot of the information posted there, and we're trying to post more every day. Appreciate you being here, and thank you to the American Legion. I stayed under.
Did very well.
Again, thank you for coming, and thank all the candidates for being here and running. I couldn't agree more with Bill than what he has said about the importance, the vital importance of the community college. 18 counties have recognized that. Fortunately, Ford County was one of those back in 1965. It is the only opportunity that many students and residents of Ford County would ever get to attend a college. Actually, my wife's father back in 40, he became a veterinarian because there was a Dodge City Community College during the Depression for him to attend, so he could start is education. It's just as important today as it was then. And I think we need to work as a board of trustees to keep our college locally controlled and to give every opportunity we can to the residents of Ford County. That's who we should be thinking of first. And I think that we as a board need to concentrate and focus on that. There's 18 counties that have community colleges. We've been given kind of a short stick by the legislature when they took out county tuition. That hurt us immensely. I think the 18 colleges need to figure out a way to work together to stop competing and cutting each other's throats as far as lowering tuition. We need to have those students pay a fair amount of tuition to attend our college that our taxpayers give us $9.6 million a year for. So thank you again for coming, and I do ask for your vote on April 7th.
I want to thank you for attending the forum and encourage you to vote on April 7th to exercise your rights. We're at a crossroads, you're at a crossroads. We need to step up and meet reality with intelligent, creative, and bold initiatives. When we sit around rubbing our hands and blaming others for our problems, we waste our opportunities. We need to change lemons into lemonade. Tonight, the questions have not been asked, what do our students need? What does the community need? These are the real important issues before us. If elected, I have the time, energy, experience to work on issues that will move us forward. I'm not interested in blaming others or attacking ideas just because their perspective is different than mine. Right now, we need to first find a new leader, a new president, and then take all the available ideas and study them thoroughly, make good decisions that will improve our college and ultimately our community. I'm a candidate who will do just that, and I respectfully ask for your vote on April 7th. Thank you.
And I certainly appreciate all the candidates coming out, and I ask that you not applaud while they were speaking, but now I would like everyone to the candidates are here. If you have questions that you'd like to ask them individually, I'm sure some of them will stay. I'm sure we might still have some coffee and cookies, so please feel comfortable and tour our wonderful American Legion. Thank you so very much.